banquet itself was a heavy hitters banquet, I'll tell you. I looked around thinking, my God, I don't belong here. The place settings were 350 apiece. There were over 300 people there. You talk about heavy hitters. I don't think there were very many Democrats there. There were not many Democrats there. But I met some of them, and they were heavy hitters for sure. Some of them, you know, captains of industry, but they belonged to the New York Athletic Club, and so they were able to buy a ticket, wondering what on earth was going on over there, except the drinks were all free. Some of the fellows took a little more advantage of that than they should, and things were getting pretty noisy around the back of the room. And it came time for me to get up to speak, and Ted Nash was there and sat with me. He walked up and hung the ribbon around my neck. I think he was one of the people that put my name up. I'm sure that guy was. But who knows? I have to say I was flattered. Now, I had been preparing a speech for weeks since I got the invitation. And when I got up, before I got up on the stage, I asked this gal, Beth, who had been organizing this thing, and she was not a hard-bitten old gal from New York City. She was a charming young woman who rode at one of the schools in San Diego, but she had got the job with the U.S. Rowing Association. So I asked her before I went on stage, how long am I supposed to talk? And she said, well, 4 minutes ought to be enough. Well, I can't even say hello, thank you, and goodbye in 4 minutes. So the young woman who helped me up on the stage, who incidentally was a hero in her own right. She had 2 wooden legs that she lost something to do with the meltdown over there in Russia. I didn't ask what country she was in, but all that stuff went all over Europe, you know, before the Russians admitted there was anything wrong. And here she is rowing with a partner who lost both legs in Vietnam. Now you talk about heroes. There they were. Well, she got me up on the stage, and that's when she said, I told her, I said, Beth said I could only talk 4 minutes. She said, don't pay any attention to that. If you get going too long, I'll put my arm around your neck and drag you off the stage. So, I don't have any idea how long I talked. I always look around, and if I see anybody yawning, or I know it's time to quit. I didn't see anybody yawning. The drunks in the back quieted down. And I wound it up with a reading from my book, which was suggested that I read it by Sue's daughter, Elizabeth, and her mother, Lynn. They told me they can't read it without crying. And I said, well, maybe I'll manage it without crying. Laying around in the room prior to the banquet, I tried reading it. And the tears came to my eyes. And so I was pretty nervous about it, but I was determined that I would read it because they had both told me that to them it meant everything that I was in their world. So I did. I read it. And I didn't cry. I felt so strongly about what I was reading that there was no room for tears. Well, when I finished, I have to tell you, there was a standing ovation from this hard-bitten bunch of heavy hitters. They saw in me what rowing had meant to them. And so I came away with, as though I really had earned the right to be there. Tonight, incidentally, all the time we were there was no mention of the superstorm that had wrecked so much of that part of the East Coast. Kind of like a New York minute, you know. So what's today? And we saw no evidence of it, other than a few branches off of trees. It was an interesting insight into the East Coast mind. We were well up. We were right on the south end of Central Park, so we were way up, away from any damage. But we saw a lot of it on the TV, of course. What I'm going to try to do tonight is to read the same paragraphs from that book in honor of Elizabeth, our granddaughter,
Do you know what page it is?
who will carry on the torch of rowing for the Pocock and Graves family. And she'll make her way somewhere, I know that. I might add that I know that because she listens to me. And that's always wonderful for a coach to feel like that. So I'm going to try and open this thing up way back to the real end, way back. It's only about 10 pages from the finish. And I'm sure people have, I know McCagg mentioned, more yet, more yet, more yet.
More?
When I say the end, I mean the end.
Well, I don't know where the end is. You should have marked it. Where is it?
Well, I did, but this isn't the same book.